Have you ever had that feeling? The one where it seems like you're operating on a completely different wavelength than everyone else around you? Let's dive into that, because what if that's not just a feeling? What if it's a sign of a genuinely different way of thinking?
Now, look at this quote. It feels, instead of I plus 1, more like them minus 6. What on earth does that mean? It sounds super cryptic, right? But this single phrase, this is our key. This is the mystery we are going to unpack right now.
So, them minus 6. What does that actually feel like? Well, to get it, we need to explore what it means to think in multiple dimensions. Let's break this analogy down. Okay, on one side you've got I plus 1. This is pretty straightforward. It's an idea from educational theory that just means the next logical step. You're climbing a ladder, one rung at a time. But then minus 6, that's something else entirely. It's not about someone being one step behind you. It's the feeling that they are missing 6 entire dimensions of depth. It's like you see a complex 3D object and they only see its flat 2D shadow.
So, and this is the really crucial part. This isn't about being smarter in the traditional sense. It's about a fundamentally different cognitive style. It's about processing the world with a kind of richness, a multidimensional quality that might be totally invisible to other people.
So if some people are actually thinking in these extra dimensions, how? What's the mechanism behind that? The answer, or at least a big part of it, might be found in a really powerful technique called symbol mastery.
This idea comes from the work of Patricia Carson, and it's a real game changer. See, symbol mastery is all about getting away from just flat words on a page. It's the practice of building these rich, three-dimensional mental models for concepts. It lets you interact with the deep structure of an idea, not just its surface. This is how you build those extra dimensions of understanding.
And here's kind of how that works. First, you have to break free from just reading words in a line. Step 2, you actively build a multidimensional symbol for that idea in your head. And when you do that, you engage your whole brain, your visual side, your spatial reasoning, everything. That's the third step. And the result? The fourth step, you achieve an understanding that is just profoundly richer and more interconnected.
Okay, I get it. Symbol mastery might sound a little abstract. But what if the capacity for this kind of deep thinking isn't just some technique you learn, but something that's actually hardwired into our biology? To see the connection, we have to look at something we all share, the incredibly intricate blueprint for our emotions. And we're going to start with a grudge.
Let's get personal for a second. We've all been there. That feeling of resentment. It's a heavy, complicated emotion. But have you ever wondered what's actually happening up there in your brain when you just can't let something go? The answer reveals a shocking complexity in our neural hardware.
You see, holding a grudge isn't just one little spark in the brain. Oh no, it's a whole symphony of activity. You've got your threat detector, the amygdala, firing up. Your prefrontal cortex, the regulator, is working overtime. But what's really wild is that neuroscientists have found a dedicated network just for these feelings, and they've actually nicknamed it the hate circuit. And that's not just some cool-sounding name. The hate circuit is a real, physical, observable pathway in the brain. It's this whole network that lights up when we think about someone we feel has wronged us. It's proof that our brains have evolved specialized machinery just for these intense, negative social emotions.
And believe it or not, it gets even more specific. Your brain has a literal disappointment center. It's called the lateral habenula. This tiny little spot fires up specifically when an outcome is worse than you expected, creating that unique sinking feeling of being let down. The takeaway here is that our emotional hardware is incredibly detailed and specialized.
So, we have this idea of multidimensional thinking over here, and we have these incredibly specific emotional circuits over there. They seem totally unrelated, don't they? But what if they're not? Let's connect the dots.
First things first, we have to realize that our inner world is not built on simple stuff like happy, sad, angry. The biological hardware running this show is way, way more sophisticated than that.
We just saw it. Our brains have these dedicated, intricate networks for incredibly specific feelings. There is a circuit for hate. There is a center for disappointment. This isn't just random noise. It's a highly evolved, fine-tuned system.
And here is the big leap. Why would our brains evolve all this complexity just for bad feelings? Well, the theory is they didn't.
This incredibly intricate hardware, it isn't just for processing grudges. It's the very raw material, the biological foundation, that makes a huge diversity of internal worlds and cognitive styles possible in the first place.
And that's the connection. The very same biological richness that gives us a dedicated hate circuit is what also provides the potential for someone to think in 6 dimensions. The capacity for profound emotional depth might be the very bedrock that allows for profound cognitive depth. Maybe you can't have one without the other.
So we'll end on this thought. If our shared biology allows for such a vast spectrum of experience, from the universal sting of disappointment to the unique perception of 6-dimensional thought, it really forces us to ask a question. In the people all around us every single day, what incredible masterpieces of the mind are we completely failing to see?